Alright, so now I just have to figure out how to make this work, since my phone is acting all weird and won't let me go into landscape mode. Let's see if I can get... There we go. Hopefully it will stay. Hi guys. I'm getting on regardless. Can't stop me. Alright? So, this is tea time with Jess. And Wonder Woman. Because we're some badass bitches. And I know y'all miss me because I miss y'all. So, little message from Yogi. What was our message? Love is an experience of infinity. Listen, guys. I'm going to be real with y'all and listen. There's some real shit that's going to come out with Brooke and I. We reconnected again, and I'm so freaking grateful for that, girl. Like, I know we both needed each other, and shout out to my sister Haven. Haven's been a lifesaver too. The importance of friendship, guys. Knowing when you can count on your team and not being afraid to ask for help. Because sometimes even the best boss bitches need a little guidance and support through the process too. Hey David, good morning, good morning. Hey Savannah, Kara, yes. Listen. First off, I'm going to go ahead and apologize because your soul sister has been sick for a few days again. And started Sunday, and Monday was a really rough day for me. And slowly but surely getting better. So I will try not to hawk it up during this video. Again, real deal tea time, okay? I won't go into too much detail about everything, but what I've learned, holy crap. Okay, listen. For those of you on a spiritual journey, hi Ellie. No, super real, Kara. Yes, some deepest shit. Deepest. I mean, I can't remember the last time, and I'm actually noticing a lot of synchronicities from last year with the 7 Sins. That was something. Jess, you're slipping. I was so ready to get on and record and get on with you guys that I forgot my dang notes. And I'm sure Kevin has it somewhere because he's been using that pad too. Yeah, man, things have been messy lately. So many layers. Christina, I have been thinking about you so much, and I keep meaning to reach out, but listen, when I say that I have had really not much space to hold for anyone, you know, the clients that I have been working with over the past few weeks, that's been like a natural progression. Even the week I went to Charleston, like I was really pushing myself, but it was good because it reconnected me with why I do what I do. Oh, thank you, Spirit, for that reminder. It also reminded me of my power. Like, I mean, there was one girl that came into the shop, and I don't think she was originally coming in for a reading. I think her and her friend were just, you know, scouring around, but I noticed her as soon as she walked in the door, and I was like, divine feminine right there. Sacred feminine energy. I mean, whew, this girl was a powerhouse, beautiful energy. And it didn't take all of 5 minutes. I already had her cards pulled out, laid out on the table, and Jennifer, the shop owner, was like, we're having readings today, blah, 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 introduced me to her, and I was like, I knew I'd be meeting you. Listen, this video might be all over the place, but this is how my life's been for weeks now. Weeks. But yeah, man, I haven't had a lot of space to hold for people because, I mean, your girl has been going through it, y'all. spiritual warfare, well, me and Brooke are going to talk more about that too. So I won't go too much in depth about it because uh, there's a lot of synchronicities between what me and her have been experiencing, and I really honestly feel that and you know, don't, when I say this, if you were not already experiencing, don't lean into it, okay? This is more for confirmation of if you have been experiencing this is just something to be aware of. And I'm going to go into what is the best way to deal with spiritual warfare and when you feel like you're being psychically attacked. Yeah, it's hardcore. And listen, it happened the same time last year. And the same time the year before that, the last 3 years in January and February, the veil has been super thin and it has knocked me down a few. But each year I'm becoming more aware, learning more tools, and I think I have finally found the answer. Like, truly found the answer of how to combat that. And like, so much peace comes with that too, guys. Okay. So, few things that I noticed um, was, first off, this goes towards, and it doesn't mean that if you're not in this situation, but I am noticing that with powerful couples, children of God, light bearers, right? When two souls that create so much energy and so much light come together, it's like it threatens the darkness, right? Like, it is a big old beacon that says, yes, we're on fire, right? So we get tested. We get tested. And some of the things that, hey, Danny, some of the things that I noticed right off the rip was things that would naturally stress you out. Everything started breaking. Um, Unfortunate circumstances when we're trying to be of service, major bills coming out the ass, uh, loss of money, not being able to pay certain bills on my part, which is the first time in my life. I am fortunate and blessed enough to say this is the first time in my life that I have been so impacted by what's going on in the world that I have not been able to pay a bill. And that was a really hard hit to my ego. Had to face failure mentality. And that's the beautiful thing, you know, about the dark side and what it does, playing off our shadow and our insecurities. Man, if you take it, like, and some of it's grueling, some of it's so ugly. I mean, I can't tell you how much I have cried and like broke down, felt so weak and vulnerable and unsafe the last few weeks because of the way that it was making me feel. But I didn't feel myself. I kept saying, this isn't me. I don't know why I'm having such an emotional reaction to things. I don't know why the smallest things are triggering me so bad that it's bringing up so many layers of ancestral trauma and karma. And I mean, it was flooding through me, like, not only everything that I've ever experienced in my life that has led to that limiting belief, but then I went to my father and everything he experienced, my mother, everything she experienced, and it flooded through me like within a matter of minutes. And it was so much for me. I was like, I cried all freaking day. All freaking day. And I mean, I felt like I had been beaten to a pulp. And I could not explain why. Like, I mean, normally I am a very balanced, emotional, like, I usually have a grip on my shit. So to have something that could so easily be fixed, it was detaching me and creating disassociation for me to feel alone. It was making me feel like I was worthless. Worthless. It was nasty. But it made me feel like it was my mind, and again, it's playing off the shadows, the insecurities that we haven't dealt with. So I thank it because it did show me a lot of what I personally needed to address. Things that, another layer of what I thought I already healed, and obviously there's many, many more layers that I have to sit with. And sometimes those things come up at the most inopportune moments. Like, I've literally had to take that memory, that thought, and that feeling and say, I see you, I acknowledge you, but now is not the time. I'll come back to you. I promise. And I did. And I will. I gotta start making more time for me. Now, one thing I have noticed for me personally is with being single for 3 years before meeting Kevin, um, I learned to be my own anchor without a relationship because I was very codependent. Well, a lot of that codependent behavior came back because I don't know how to be my own anchor within a relationship. And I just have to say, Kevin is a beautiful teacher, and I'm very grateful for everything that I'm learning from him and the way that we can both, even in the mix of everything, when it's so ugly that we both just want to bolt, we're able to put our pride and our ego aside and say, I love you more than this. Like, this is not worth it. And finding a way, a solution that works for both of us to help us come back to God. That was the big thing. But something else he also taught me was the way that I used to combat the lower vibrational entities, or listen, call it what you will. There's shit out there that we don't necessarily know the half of it. But I see it and I'm aware of it. But the difference now that I have learned is not to be afraid of it. I used to fight it with aggression, like, fuck you, you have no power here, get out, you know? Like, oh, I'm a confident, cocky little shit. But I was really scared. And God has taught me that through that faith in Him and faith in myself, that my connection with my higher power is so strong that I don't have to fear it. I forgive you. I send you off with love. I am sorry that you feel the need to attack me, because my light is bright, and the love that I have in my life is even brighter. You feel threatened by that, okay? Like, whole different perspective. I get it. I get it. I know what jealousy feels like. I know what envy feels like. But I refuse to give into it. I refuse to live my life like that anymore. Big teachers. But it does. It creates so much chaos in your life that all you do is focus on the negative. You can't see any positive anymore. Then your defense mechanisms come in, then your coping mechanisms come in. If you're not aware of your shit, you don't take the time to acknowledge your part in the storyline. And it's up to both of you to be able to put things aside for a minute and choose love, to choose understanding, to really listen. And sometimes it has to come out in different ways, especially if you're stubborn like me. I will be the first one to admit that when I feel triggered, or I feel like I am being judged or ridiculed or whatever, I'm like, I will shut that. I can be the most emotional and heart open person, but the moment that I feel any of that, even if it's, whether it's intended or not, I immediately throw up a defense and, like, cold, I will shut the fuck off, because I don't know an in between yet. But I know I need to learn it, because it keeps coming back to balance, guys. It keeps coming back to balance. Everything's about balance. But it did. It it will, and it's so funny because now that I've reconnected with Brooke, you know, she sent me the video that confirmed everything that I was feeling that was going on. And we go about things differently, but yet in the same. Sometimes I feel like I'm not fully understood because he doesn't necessarily understand my lingo and how because I've never been a really good communicator, especially in relationships. So the fact that we both give space to really communicate and take enough time and sometimes hours to break it down to what we're really trying to say and how our love keeps it afloat, man. Um, countless, countless time, like, and I know it just got to the point we were both exhausted. Like, what the fuck is going on? But the beautiful thing in all of that is that we both learned so much from the experience. And not only did it solidify more what we're willing to do for this relationship and how much we truly believe in each other and what we're capable of, it broke us down in order to like rebuild us in a new form. And another big message that's been coming up is the why, right? This actually came up with Haven, and if you look at the letter Y, it has the straight and then it branches off like a fork in the road, right? Um, we all have choices, and I will tell you this, okay, from the readings that we have been doing and the processing that has been happening, it has come to my understanding and to my awareness that God has control over everything, right? So nothing can actually happen without his grace, without his good grace, without his okay. Now, I think it's hard for people to understand that God allows some of these things, the really nasty things, to happen in this world, right? But he keeps it on a leash. He will allow the darkness to influence us, but they can't physically take our lives. Now, I understand suicide more because I know what mental illness feels like. I know what depression and anxiety can do to one's mind. And the way that it plays off your shadow, I can understand how they can push people to commit suicide and yet not have to do it themselves. It's very tricky. Um, So if you do feel that, and I know a lot of people have been struggling because of quarantine and all of that, listen, if you are feeling low and you start to get to that point, because listen, I will be honest, when I was younger and I was really struggling with my mental illness, I was suicidal. Um, I'm not to say that I haven't had those thoughts before, because I have. But with the awareness that I have now, I realized it wasn't even my own voice telling me. Because both of us were attacked in our sleep one night where it had told us to take our lives. It told me to drive off a bridge, like, and then caused such a havoc the next day that I wanted to bolt in a very unsafe emotional state. And thankfully, Kevin, being my protector, would not allow it. Um, and it did. It rattled me. It scared me. But the message that keeps coming through is you don't need to be scared with God on your side. And if you have complete faith in Him, you can be calm in knowing that you have control over this. And I had to quit giving my power to it. Because it was to the point I didn't even want to talk about it. But now that I understand and I feel such a, like, yes, you're there, but I'm not afraid of you anymore. I'm not. And it has finally subsided. I feel so much better. I'm calm. I mean, I feel grounded, more grounded than I have in a few months. And I see it clearly, and I see how the orchestration of everything has really played in our benefit. I mean, no, it was not pretty. It was ugly as shit. It was messy, and but what a learning experience. And it only made us stronger too. And going to Charleston, I took full accountability for all my stuff. Like, I looked at everything as a bigger picture, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm reacting, and it's taken some time to, fully adjust to not taking things so personal, or being more careful with the way that I use my words, because if I come in with defense and aggression, I'm going to be met with that. And that I want to be met with love. I want to be met with understanding. So therefore, I have to attain that myself. Because like Brooke says, you have to go through the you to get to the we. And it's true. And the more that I have my connection with my higher power, the more that I have my trust and faith in Him, I'm good. And that's what alignment feels like. Like, you're just good. You're good. Um, there's no need to worry. And, I think about the waves and the levels of ascension, and no, this is not easy. And I give so much props to the people who are willing to face the shadows of this world and come out stronger and more in tune with who you are and who we are, so that we can live in harmony. Like that, like, there's a lot of people who don't understand what we do. Some people, I don't think, could actually wrap their head around what a light worker's duty is in this world. And do we even know, like, how big the whole picture is? I'm still barely scratching the surface, and I know it. There's so much more. And one thing that I really had to come to grips with is a lot of, and this is why I'm getting away from tarot as well, because do we necessarily need to know what's happening in the future? That's not being present. Sometimes it's good to have a heads up, but like, I think we get obsessive with it, and we forget, like, we want to pray and ask for all these things, but we're not asking for the tools to actually achieve it. And even if we do gain the guidance, are we putting them into action? Are we actually taking the advice and using it? And I think this is a frustration for a lot of light workers and healers. I feel some people have just grown detached from, it's become more of a money game, and that's not why I'm here. Of course, you need to pay bills and stuff, but first and foremost, I want to be a healer. I want to help people connect to themselves and connect to this world and what it has to offer in the way that, similar ways that I have experienced the beauty of it, because it's beautiful. But we do have to understand yin and yang. Where there is light, there is shadow. It doesn't matter what, if, you know, the way that I tried to explain it, even to Kevin, like, because he likes to use carpentry terms and all the things. So, like, you know, um, I don't even know if he would want me to share this because he's kind of shy about it, but I'm proud of him because it shows his character. So I'm just going to do it because he saw on the news years ago that there was a family, like, listen, guys, he's been a contractor for 20 years, whatnot, all that stuff. And he's very good at what he does, and he takes it very seriously. He takes pride in his work. He helps people where he can. And he's made a good name for himself with what he does. But years ago, he saw on the news where a contractor was remodeling this family's kitchen or remodeling the home, and basically left them high and dry after they had demolished everything. So they ripped out the kitchen and all the bathrooms and all the things, and then just left them bare. And he saw it on the news and came and, out of his own pocket, put this family's house back together. And because God told him to help the family, right? And he had the means to do so, so he did. You can't help that there are people who take advantage in this world. You can't help that there are going to be people who test you and take advantage and do things against God's image. They all play a part, and if we really look at it, it gives people like Kevin and us the opportunity to step up and restore faith in humanity. There's always a bigger picture. And even if it's not on that big of a level, like, say on an intimate level, someone who has never experienced true intimacy, unconditional love, to say, even through your mess, I still love you. I will continue to find ways to understand you more, to support you, to protect you, to love you the way you deserve to be loved. And some people don't know how to receive that either, but you could be the example to say God is still here and living through us, to say that there is a bigger picture that is going to restore your hope, to restore your faith, to give you the tools and the guidance you need to make the necessary changes in your life to get out of the shadow. I love you too, Mama. Everyone say hi to Mama Joe. But yeah, guys, I mean, it all comes back to love. It all comes back to love. Love is the greatest healer. And ooh, can't wait for this to be over. But I embrace it because it has forced me to be still and take care of myself. To even catch up on a show I haven't watched in a while and totally binged watch and not feel guilty about it, because I never do it, right? So, ooh. But yeah, man, back to the why. So we all have choices to make, right? And I feel like a lot of people are kind of like the scale, right? Balancing out, weighing the pros and cons. I can go in this direction or go in this direction. But it depends on how you look at it. Some people are on the straight and narrow. There's a couple different ways to look at it. One way I explained it to Brooke was, you know, so many of us are, you know, in our lifestyle. We have our ways, we do our things, and then we meet someone that's doing their thing and has their ways, and we're used to being on that path. Now, what tends to happen in codependent relationships is you try to adapt to one or the other. And then someone ends up feeling lost or out of place or whatever the case may be. So the lesson in this is to forge your own path together. You might have had your life and you might have had your life, but what is your life, right? Our life, it keeps coming back to the we. So creating new habits, creating new experiences, new memories, and doing what brings the two of you joy, right? What connects the two of you. And I think it's all about forging your own path. Now, looking at it from the other way, you can have two options. Like one young girl that I worked with, you know, she had two ideas, but what she didn't consider is actually merging the two, where she feels that she could be the best of service and be happy doing it, right? So no matter what the why, come back to the center of it all and ask yourself, are these really my only options? And what does it boil down to when it comes to the we? Whether that is you and a physical person in this life, or is that your mission with God, right? For the highest good of all. And it could be something just so simple, guys. But it all boils down to being the example, being the change, and taking accountability, taking authority over our lives, getting back to the focus of it all. And where I feel that I'm best of service is helping people heal to make the most of their life. If your past is influencing your present, it is most definitely going to influence your future. So you gotta fix what baggage you're carrying around. The future can change. Like, that's why I don't want to focus on it. You have more power here. And whatever that may look like. I mean, who knows? That's the beautiful thing about being in the state of flow. Sometimes you have to push yourself and get up off your ass. I have noticed a pattern of enabling that has not necessarily done me good, and I'm rerouting that intention as well. So whatever spirit may ask of me when it comes to my God-given gifts, and not having to use a bunch of tools to help people physically understand what is happening, or to soothe one's ego with a possibly flexible timeline story. I'm going to do what I can to help y'all feel that you are not alone and understood. I get it. what I learn, I will share with you. But I think we got to give ourselves more credit, because I think we start to not trust ourselves so much. And because I started thinking about it the other day, I'm like, man, trust keeps coming up, and I'm like, am I untrustworthy, and why don't I trust myself? Because that's a reflection, right? I don't always make the greatest decisions. Definitely haven't in my past. I don't always listen to my intuition, even though I know I should, especially by now. Um, Getting better at it, one step at a time. It's all baby steps, guys. Baby steps. Um, but there's also some realizations, especially from last night's reading, where forgiveness, forgiveness. There's still so much forgiving to do. Like, I thought I was over it because I didn't want to be angry anymore, but boy, have I not really forgiven. Like, one statement, one sentence out of this book, and had an emotional reaction. It wasn't like a breakdown, but it was a, ooh, I felt that because I've experienced that. I know what that feels like. And even though I'm not angry with these people for what they have said and done to me, I still haven't actually forgiven. And then I still hadn't forgiven myself for the things that I did that were not godly. Okay. Ungodly things. Um, that I was ashamed of. And, like, probably will never say out loud. That's between me and Big Guy, okay? No. That's not. People don't need to know everything. So, but it's real talk. We've all been there. And I think it really boils down to having enough respect for yourself to be real with yourself. To be thankful for the mirror and what it can teach you. Thank you, great teachers, all of you. Because at the center of it all, there is light. There is love. And I understand that better now. But there's almost a calmness to it now that I'm out of it. And I will say that since the last time that I had something similar like this happen, was that was a whole different experience, because I was totally unprepared, and I had been told after that experience that yes, we know it scared you, but this is part of one of your responsibilities, basically, that with you being a protector of light, you're going to have to deal with some darkness. And I didn't want to look at it because I wanted to live in the fantasy of everything's beautiful and kind and ooey gooey. Everything feels good. I didn't want to look at it. I had my blinders on. And it left me vulnerable. But I also didn't know what to do with it then. I was still scared, still fresh, and really wanted to just leave it all behind me and not have to think about it again. But thankfully, having strong, aware people meet it with love, meet it with kindness. No reason to fear it. And I won't meet it with aggression anymore, because I'm good. I get it. Once I get it, I get it. That's it. And there might be some, fine tuning here and there, and that's okay. Because each, not gonna sit here and invite it in. We'll say that. But I will continue to let God's love pour through me, and if I ever feel myself slipping again, I will make sure that I take the necessary steps to realign myself, because that is my duty. That is my duty. So, but yeah, I feel like a lot of stubbornness around independence, and I think a lot of relationships are struggling right now with feeling connected, because the love languages are getting confused. What your partner needs from you is not the way that you want to receive it, right? So typically the way we want to receive is the way that we give, and your partner is having a different way of viewing that. So then we end up overlooking how our partners are expressing themselves. And I feel like the masculines are definitely having a real struggle around finances and creating a stable life and home for their feminines. And they're juggling a lot of different things, a lot of different timelines, and it's putting a lot of stress on them, okay? So I think it's really important for the feminine to understand, do not take it personal when they come home and their body hurts, or they're tired, or they're mentally exhausted because of all the difficult people they dealt with that day. All the energy they're taking in and trying to navigate in order to keep the peace, keep things flowing in an upward direction, because we've all fallen back. And they're trying to regain momentum, right? They're trying to find their footing again. It's not a time to nag on them, okay? And I find the best way, if you want to receive it, is to give it. When I changed my intention of why I do what I do, I like to create home, I like to create comfort, like to create all the womanly things in the home, like good wifey, right? Try to. But when I was doing it out of obligation and fear, it was a mess. When I went to, I'm doing it because I love my family and I want to, different story, totally different vibration. And when you give love because you want to, and you give it freely, it does come back. It does. And I think sometimes we misread what our partners actually need from us, and to actually take action on it. And I've been guilty of that too. Say, I'll make time, and I don't. Or I don't read into the clue because I'm not in the mood, or, and that's okay too. But there are so many times that I could have shown up in the most simplest ways, or just came in with a different energy, and it probably would have taken so much stress off. It's usually when I am just my carefree self that everything moves so fluidly. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the masculines are also having a hard time receiving Is that something you've been noticing, Danny? Because, you know, and I know that a lot of masculines do have this, and I know you're the feminine, divine feminine in the relationship, but you also flip flop, so, you know, um, but I feel like you're kind of more in the masculine energy right now for whatever reason. Um, but yeah, so hey Tanya, um, I feel like they're so used to doing that they're not really good at receiving. And then I feel like there's also some testing in there. Like to actually make it to where you have to put forth even more effort and be firm in the way that the feminine gives in order for you to receive it. It has to be almost like the feminine taking charge and being like, sit your ass down, let me take care of you because you're not allowing me to love you, right? And sometimes that's needed because we can all be stubborn as fuck. But the feminine needs it too, man. Like, it's the energy exchange. If you feel like something's lacking, try giving what you want to receive. And really ask yourself, what do I want right now? What what do I want to feel like? What do I want to exude? What do I want my partner to receive from me? Go from there. Have fun with it. That can be spontaneous. Just taking some time to be quiet with each other, take a bath, watch a funny movie, read a book. That's been a big one. Reading together has been transformational for us. Reading positive books. We're reading a recap of the Bible because I told him, like, it's gibberish to me. I don't understand it, but it does definitely, there's something about Job's story that has caught my interest with this book. So it's basically a Bible for dummies. This girl. So, you know, I'm not going to take everything super literal or whatever, you know, because I do understand it's written by man. But I'm going to be pulled to what I trust my intuition. Whatever message I need to receive, it's going to be there. So, but we've also agreed to read the 4 agreements, and we want to read the soulmate's path. So, you know, there's things that we already have set and are acting on when it comes to doing things together that feels good to us and having like legit conversations. How that makes you feel. What does that remind you of? What do you think about this? And like understanding more of one's perspective. It's beautiful. I mean, it really is. Beautiful bonding experience. So, yeah, guys. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Oh, uncertainty's been a big lesson lately. And, you know, we say have faith that everything will work out, but one of the parts that we miss is actually taking action upon the divinely guided steps. I think once we get even a clue or an inkling or an intuitive hit of something we need to do, a lot of self-sabotage is coming through, so be aware of that. Because I know that's definitely going on. Definitely going on. So, but it is a good time, you know, we are in Mercury retrograde, so you can use it however you want to. I used to be terrified of Mercury retrograde, and it definitely is more of a crazy energy and misunderstanding lately, but regardless, if you really allow yourself to get deep with each other and ask the right questions, um, you can actually really learn a lot from what is being said. So, um, yeah. Yeah, I get it. Lots of that. That's good. That's good. No. Um, Thank you, Mama. Yeah, the sunshine has followed. It's been a big theme throughout my life. Uh, I'll, quick story, just because and it's so funny because now it's one of my favorite songs. Um, but so in the house that we used to live in back in South Carolina, we were in the city, but we had a beautiful backyard with lots of trees and birds, and that was always our hangout spot. Mom and I would always be outside, and but it was very shaded. So the way that the sun came over the house, like especially during the colder months, we would follow or chase the sun. And you could see our little paths where we would take the chairs throughout the day and move them, and it was hilarious, and it was a joke for a very, very long time. But now I have a song, Follow the Sun, or yeah, Follow the Sun by Xavier Rudd, I think. And it makes sense. I've been called sunshine my whole life, and a lot of people have also noticed and said it too. And all I can do is stay true to myself. That's another big thing. Stay true to yourself, Jess. Tribe, okay? Trust yourself, and don't allow other people's opinions. That's the word. Opinions. Don't allow other people's opinions dictate how you live your life. You cannot make everyone happy. You cannot live your life according to what everyone else thinks you need to be doing. You need to trust yourself. If you fall on your ass, it's a great learning lesson. Get up. Start a new path. It only sucks if you don't learn from it and you keep repeating the cycle. But each time you're going to learn something until you're ready to break it. And sometimes that means breaking outside of our comfort zone. But you got to trust in yourself. And if you don't know how to trust yourself, then you're only going to really think about it. If you live your life by everyone else's opinion, you're going to be pulled in a million different directions, and you'll never know who you really are. Take the time to figure that out. Take the time to figure out what makes you happy, what drives you, what inspires you, what gives you hope, and spread that out into the world. Whatever that looks like. Smiles and laughter are contagious. So do what you can. Baby steps, guys. Baby steps. It doesn't all change overnight. Don't get hard on yourself or whatever. And, it's just one of those things where if you can't trust yourself, no one else is going to really trust you either. And you'll be a puppet on a string. Like, that's really what it boils down to. And, that's when a lot of fear gets in, because you don't feel like you have any control over your life, and really you don't. If you allow everyone to, if you allow everyone else to dictate it for you. So, anyway, I feel the trolls getting pissed off. So, shine that light, guys. Shine that light. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. We're at an hour. That was a long ramble. Brooke and I will be making more videos talking about, you know, things that have been going on and going more in depth about stuff. But that's kind of the highlight reel of what my life's been like. Welcome to the Jess Show. It is what it is, though. And I think there's going to be more than a few people that are going to experience the same thing and hopefully get something out of it. But wait till me and Brooke link up. Y'all going to get all kinds of good information, all kinds of tools, and I'm sure it's going to be life-changing for a lot of us, because, yeah. So, anyway, I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. It was good reconnecting with y'all, you know, and thank you to everyone that has had my back through all of this. Thanks, guys. I love y'all too. But yeah, even if you've just been thinking about me or sending love my way or reaching out, like all of it, even if you're not consciously aware of it, I feel y'all, and I thank you for always believing in me. So, yeah. Very grateful, very grateful. But I love y'all. I'm gonna hop off here, go do other things, and I will see y'all soon.